Welcome to the Watcher's Chair. This is a space for observation, not reaction.
When presence cannot correct fear. The hope behind tolerance. Some people tolerate accusations they know are false, not because they doubt themselves, but because they believe presence will correct fear. They think that if they can be seen, heard, and felt in real time, the other person's nervous system will settle. This belief often comes from empathy and from understanding trauma, not from weakness or guilt. Reassurance becomes a form of care, patience becomes proof of love, and consistency becomes a promise that fear will eventually loosen. The person offering reassurance is not trying to escape accountability. They are trying to create safety through steadiness, believing that truth will land once fear calms down. When reassurance stops working, there is a quiet limit to this approach. Reassurance only works when fear is searching for truth. When fear is searching for control, reassurance does not resolve anything, it escalates it. Clarifying begins to sound like defending. Defending begins to sound like controlling. And controlling becomes the accusation itself. The person offering reassurance believes they are saying they are here and unchanged. What the other nervous system hears is that they are not yet in charge of the feeling. That gap creates pressure, not relief. The shift in the dynamic. Over time, innocence stops mattering. Integrity stops mattering. Even transparency stops mattering. The accusation is no longer about behavior, facts, or evidence. It becomes about regulating an internal state. At that point, no amount of being seen can fix it. Presence no longer brings closeness, it becomes a trigger. The relationship quietly shifts from connection to containment. One person is trying to remain available. The other is trying to remain in control of their fear. The misunderstanding that keeps people stuck. This is where many people stay longer than they should. They believe that love, patience, and proximity will eventually be enough. They do not realize that the more they reassure, the more the dynamic hardens. When someone must repeatedly prove they have done nothing wrong, balance has already been lost. Understanding trauma can explain why this happens, but explanation alone cannot cure it. No amount of goodness can stabilize a system that requires accusation to feel safe. Discernment, not abandonment. Recognizing this limit is not abandonment. It is discernment. It is the moment someone realizes that empathy does not require self-erasure and that love does not mean endless defense. Walking back from this dynamic is not a failure of care. It is an acknowledgement that fear can't be healed through reassurance alone. Presence is powerful, but it cannot replace responsibility for one's own internal regulation. This is where we pause, not to decide who was right, but to understand what actually happened. What you do with that understanding is yours. The Watcher's Chair doesn't ask for agreement. It exists, so patterns can be seen, named, and left behind. We'll continue next time.